Okay, guys, what I really want to talk about today, which is something that is so important, and that is how do we increase our average sales price? I think that as part of the Luxury Collective, which I founded over 10 years ago, which is helping listing agents really become the best that they can be, part of the huge strategy is not just finding listings, but how can we be strategic about actually increasing our average sales price so that we can be making more money with each sale that we make. So this has always been something that I've always been strategic about with my own career. As a 30 plus year listing agent in San Francisco, I'm still in the trenches right now, and I'm still constantly looking for different ways for me to increase our average sales price. And I want to emphasize one thing with this. It is super important that we don't judge other people in terms of what their market is. I think it's really super important that we have to make sure that you define your own luxury market. What does high-end mean for you? What does the high-end luxury market mean for you? What does luxury in your area look like? So, I'm working with people that are doing everything from $500,000 sales, which is high-end to them, up to $14 million listings, which is high to them. So it's really subjective. It's really all about what decision you make in terms of your own sales price and how much you want to increase it. But regardless, I don't care if you've been in the business 1 year or 20 years, you can still really understand how to develop a strategy, how to increase your average sales price. So that's really super important. Okay. I think that it's really important that you have, for the high-end market, that you really have a luxury listing presentation. There are so many different modules out there. There are so many different templates that you can use to create your own luxury listing presentation. And here's the deal. What I really love about working the high-end market is that very frequently you're not really working with the sellers themselves, but the sellers' representatives. And so I think it's really important. And these people are usually they're professional help, essentially. They're attorneys, they're property managers, they're house managers. It can be anybody that is actually very professional. And so they want to see a presentation that looks good. It reeks of high end, no spelling mistakes, great graphics, that kind of thing. But again, if you want to show me your listing presentation, I'd be more than happy to take a look at it and let you know if I think that really fits the bill. With the high end, though, one of the things that you really have to do is be super responsive. So I think it's really important that you be literally, you don't have to be available 24/7. That's ridiculous. Most professional people and most high-end sellers know that, you need to sleep, you need to have some time to yourself. And so it's been my experience that as long as you set the tone up front, that you tell them these are the times I work, this is the time I'm going to be returning calls, unless it's like a super emergency and somebody's going to die, then I wouldn't make a big deal out of it, and just couch your terms in terms of what you're looking for a life, and tell them, you're going to work 6 days a week, you're going to take Sundays off, whatever, you're going to work from these hours to this hour, and dress the part as well too. I think it's really important that that we dress in an upscale fashion. It's going to make you feel better, but most importantly, it's going to make them feel like they're really working with a high-end individual, a high-end listing agent. Now again, I'm going to be subjective here, and high-end dressing is different in every single area, every single region. A good friend of mine runs the Mercedes-Benz dealership in the San Francisco Bay Area, actually in San Francisco, and he told me, he says, nowadays, especially with Silicon Valley and the high-tech world and all that, you cannot judge people by how they dress. He has people coming in tank tops and shorts, buying $150,000 cars. So he said, you can't judge a person. So take that for what it's worth. For instance, I don't wear a suit and tie. San Francisco is way more casual than that. And a simple shirt with a blazer definitely is my uniform that I wear literally the whole time I'm there. So, and it can be even with jeans. It can be with a nice pair of pants. So again, be subjective in terms of you understanding dressing the part. To increase your sales price, here's a couple of things that I just want to bring up that I think that goes a long way towards you being strategic. Leases. If you are involved at all in leasing property, a lot of those leases for high-end homes turn into the tenants buying the home. So that's something that you can do. If you don't lease homes, find your property manager or find somebody that actually does lease homes in your marketplace and make sure you get referrals from them. Make sure you take them out to lunch, take them to coffee, shower them with attention and affection, and hopefully you get referrals from them. I think one of the greatest ways to increase your average sales price is probates. Now, I've talked about probates a lot in previous interviews, previous videos, and I can tell you, probates are just a really great way to increase your average sales price because it's not dependent on the market. And here's the deal. When you're looking at probates and you're looking up individual probates from the courthouse, the cool thing is that you can cherry pick the listings that are above your average sales price in the areas that you want to work. So check out some of my other videos on how to work probates. I love working probates. I think it's a great way to have that stream of listings coming into your pipeline. And again, if you just concentrate in the areas that you really want to work and you're concentrating on places that are above your average sales price, it is a beautiful way to get your price up, up, up. Obviously, socializing, is very important as well too. And that really has to do with all kinds of things that are going on in your marketplace. It's really important that you are engaged with your community, because when you're engaged with your community, more opportunities are going to present itself. One of the things that I think is the greatest story is I had a coaching client once that literally, she parked herself every single morning at the Starbucks outside a luxury housing development, because everybody that went there to get coffee in the morning, they were all high net worth individuals. They lived in this gated community. And so she would just start conversations with people. She would literally sit there all morning and work, and she would start conversations with people. To me, that's a prime example of how you can really socialize and meet high net worth individuals and get those listings. Social media, I think, is a really great way to get listings in the higher end. But for this, I'm going to make a huge caveat with this. It is a great way for you, using social media is a great way for you to cement your brand. One of the things that I've always said is that I never really recommend social media after 30 plus years. Listen, I've tried it all. Trying to get listings on social media, trying SEO marketing. Oh my God, I've wasted so much money on that. Trust me. So social media is a great way for you to cement your brand. I'll tell you the best way you can use social media is to start a YouTube channel. Start a YouTube channel about the area that you really want to work and become the authority in that area. If you have a particular area in your community that's high end, well, start a YouTube channel and consistently produce videos. They don't have to be special videos. They can be 3-minute videos. They can be 5-minute videos talking about a listing that's come up, talking about restaurants in the area, coffee houses, market stats, what you've seen in terms of sales. I think this is it costs no money. And as long as you're consistently producing videos, I would say minimum produce 1 video per week. But again, off the cuff. It doesn't have to be scripted. You don't have to look beautiful. You don't have to have all these fancy graphics. I recommend CapCut. That's what I use for all my videos. I can splice and dice super easy. I am not a high-tech guy. I produce a lot of videos for my coaching business, and I can tell you that if I can do it, you can do it because I'm not a high-tech guy. All you have to do is make sure it starts well, ends well, give some good, decent information, and then make sure there's captions that people can read when they're watching the video, and that can all be done in CapCut. And I think you can get the CapCut professional version for like $7 a month. It's so easy, but I can't tell you enough. I think there's this thing in the world right now that sellers' bullshit meters are so finely tuned that they really, really are weary. They're wary of listing agents. And one of the things, I like to call it the trust recession. And one of the things I like to say is if you really want to bust or cut that trust recession, send your YouTube channel to the sellers before you even meet them. Let them see that you know exactly what this community is about. Let them know that you are the expert in this community. It is the easiest thing to do. It costs no money, and it really can bond you as the expert in that particular area. That's the best way you can use social media. Make sure you provide a superior experience. You know, people in the high end, they're people, including their attorneys, their helpers, house managers. They want responses like that. They want answers. If you don't have the answer, say you don't have the answer, but you're going to research it and get right back to them. They want a seamless, tranquil experience in selling their house. So make sure that the experience you're providing is top notch. One of the greatest ways that I think that you can also not only build your sphere of influence, so add people to your sphere of influence, add people to your CRM, is to reach out to private lenders and bankers, investment advisors, attorneys. We already talked about probate attorneys, every other kind of attorney, CPAs, I said investment advisors, insurance agents. Find the people that are working with high net worth individuals and then call them, introduce yourself to them. Hey, this is Chris Stafford with Compass Real Estate, and I hear that you do amazing work. Do you mind if I stay in touch with you for referrals? Bam. That's your whole script. And guess what? They never say no. They may try to get you off the phone. They're very professional about it. 80-20 rule, 80% of them will try to get you off the phone. 20% are going to be really friendly and chummy. But after you have that conversation, make sure that you put them in your CRM. You tag them so that you're going to call them 4 times a year for referrals. Tell them you'll send them one of your cards in the mail. And then what you do is instead of sending just a card, you're going to send a card with a hand note and your statement of qualifications. Now, I've talked about statement of qualifications before. If you want a copy of mine, just hit the link down below and take my statement of qualifications. Make it your own. Plagiarize it. I don't care what you do with it. Make it your own. Because when you put a statement of qualifications, which is nothing more than just sort of a sophisticated calling card, when you put your statement of qualifications with a hand note and a really nice folder with your card, and you put it in a big envelope and mail that first class, especially in those express mail envelopes they have at the U.S. Post Office, it looks really impressive and people are going to remember you. And then make sure you keep calling them. Again, this is probably one of the best ways to increase your average sales price and build your sphere of influence at the same time. I highly recommend doing that. Other ideas is you can co-list. Find a luxury real estate agent in your office that is willing to let you do some work on some of their listings, including even co-list, or if you get a lead for a high-end property and you don't feel comfortable actually doing it yourself, have him co-list it with you because he's got the experience or she has the experience to make that happen. That's another way to sort of get your foot in the door. Write a luxury article, contact your local news organizations in your marketplace and talk about some of the luxury properties that are selling. Give any kind of juicy tidbits that would be really good for public consumption. And there's all kinds of luxury affiliations around the world that you can join. I've been a member of so many different ones. Christie's International. There's so many different ones around the world that you can absolutely join that would really help you to mastermind with other luxury real estate agents around the world, but also to give you great ideas, to motivate you, incent you, and so forth. So these are just some ideas on how to increase your average sales price. I'm sure you have other better ideas as well too. Use your imagination, because it's really important that as a listing agent, if you're really getting serious about this business, let's get you more listings. Let's find you more listings. Let's add more listings to your listing pipeline. But at the same time, let's also be strategic about increasing your average sales price. If you want to learn more about this, hit the link down below and let's jump on a call and talk about how we can develop some strategies to increase your average sales price. Hit that link down below for the statement of qualifications. And I hope that I can talk to you real soon. Go out there and make sure you're changing that average sales price of yours in the upward direction.